As we get set for Game 7, a real thrill to be joined by a guy who has some Game 7 history. Mike Rupp from the NHL Network is with us, and I think that in Game 7s, you just don't know. You don't know. You're living proof that you just don't know who's going to be the guy who steps up.
I think that's the beauty of it, right? So I always grew up a big basketball fan as well, and when you're watching, I always knew, everybody knew in the world that Michael Jordan's getting that last shot. Well, in hockey, it can come anywhere, and I'm a perfect example of that. It can come from a fourth-line guy. It can come from anywhere in the lineup, and I think this is the one sport where you can will yourself to be a hero in situations, and that's the beauty of it. So someone's going to be a hero in this game. We don't know who or where it's coming from.
You know, when you go back to the Game 7 in 03, it was Devils and it was Ducks, and if you don't know, Mike scored his first career postseason goal in that scenario. Can you put into words what that made you feel in that moment?
Yeah, you know, it was building the prior games, so I didn't play in the playoffs until Game 4 of the finals, and I played the last 4 games, and I started on the fourth line in the first game I got in, and then I ended up being elevated into the lineup and playing on arguably probably our top line, because by injury I got in there, and I was put in a good situation with 2 guys that were playing really well at that time, so you know, you felt like you're kind of playing with house money at that point, and you're just going to go and have fun. I mean, it's an opportunity. That's what this is, and I think we looked at it, and I looked at it as that. It's an opportunity to fulfill something that you've always dreamt about, and when you look at it that way as opposed to what's at stake, it gives you a much better pulse on the game.
Refresh my memory. I think I might be right in this, but you were there, so you'd know better. Was that the year that Kenny Daneyko was activated to play Game 7?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so he's not exactly like David Backes, but it's a similar situation in that there are some emotional draws to want to have a guy on the ice. Is Bruce Cassidy thinking that way at all, to try to get him on the ice after his long career, to be there on the ice for Game 7?
It's a tough spot because you sit there, I mean, if you look on the other side to some degree, maybe not to that standard as far as how long David Backes has played, but St. Louis is doing that with Joel Edmondson on their back end, a guy that has been around a long time, has been a piece that has helped them, and he's been out for a while. Now he looks to be back in the Game 7. So it's tough because you could look one of 2 ways. I mean, they don't really have a hole that needs to be filled necessarily, but at the same time, he's provided a spark at different times, and those veteran guys usually you know, they've been through those things, and they have a good gauge and good temperature on those types of situations.
The other thing that happened in 03, which is very rare, is that Jean-Sébastien Giguère was named the Conn Smythe Trophy winner, and he, of course, was the goalie of the Ducks, the team that lost. You could argue that Martin Brodeur deserved it as well, but it leads to my question about Tuukka. Win or loss, has he been the best player in this postseason?
He has been the best player. The only reason why I don't know if that is going to happen is because I think that when you have a situation like that, if say Boston lost, to give it to the goalie on the other team is almost, it insinuates that goalie brought a Cinderella team to the finals. This Bruins team has been really good all year, so I don't know if that comes into play, but if there ever is someone that deserves it, and that would be the first one since J.S. Giguère, it would be Tuukka. I mean, he's been unbelievable, by far for me the best player in the playoffs.
How has winning a Stanley Cup changed your life?
I don't think it has really. I think that it's maybe from the, you know, I know just from the thing that I went through personally with not playing in the first 3 rounds. You have to do the right thing when people aren't looking. And if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have been able to thrive in the situation I was in. So I wasn't even practicing with the team the first 3 rounds. It was one of the Black Aces, and we're skating about 5 of us on the ice. So you're going to puke every day, and you're wondering why are we doing this? We're not going to get in, and you start crunching numbers of how many guys have to get hurt for you to get in. And it changes really quick. So I think that's the biggest thing I learned is, you know, you don't always get rewarded immediately, but you do what you're supposed to do, and you put yourself in a good position.
Thanks for the time. Totally appreciate it. You can watch Mike and the whole gang from the NHL Network before and after tonight's Game 7 right here at TD Garden.